3, 2, 1, cut! Now this is one of many chainsaws that I own. This is a Husqvarna 372 XP, which is a two-stroke machine or two-stroke chainsaw, which is around 70cc. Now I love all three series Husqvarnas, from the 346, 357 to the 372. It's got plenty of power, plenty of torque. Now it is a little bit heavier than your standard sort of mid-range chainsaw, but the grunt with this machine is second to none. Now for all you chainsaw lovers out there, can you imagine a world with a saw of this size that isn't powered by two-stroke? Because our industry, the outdoor and garden sector, is certainly changing. Now there is areas around the world which you can't physically use a petrol machine by law. But with the change in law and the way we use our machines and our habits, do you think we could actually rely on another energy source to power large machinery just like this? Now we all know that manufacturers are making huge strides in battery technology, not to just compete, but to replace their petrol equivalents. Now this leads me on to the chainsaw we're going to check out today. Oh, this is the Cramer CS45 82 volt chainsaw. Is this the most powerful cordless chainsaw in the world? Because Cramer state that this machine in this box is equivalent to a 70cc petrol machine or petrol chainsaw. So that is why I've got my old trusty next to me, because we're going to do a series of cutting tests and see how powerful this machine really is. I'm pretty excited, so I think we ought to get out the box first and check it out. Look at that beauty, look at that beauty. Let's get her out. We'll come to the guide bar and everything in a minute. Look at that. Yeah, I really do like that from the onset. Like magnesium clutch cover. Double dogs, always like a double dog. No flicky switch on the top, just a proper handle and switch. Right, let's get the guide bar and chain out. Comes with a 20-inch guide bar, 50 centimeter. Now they class it as a 51 centimeter. It's made by Oregon, an Oregon cutting system. 050 gauge, create large mount. So I'm presuming we'll have a nice 72 chain from Oregon. Full chisel chain. The old raker gauge is on the front. Not seen a chain like that before. So we'll see how that cuts in a bit. We have some little tools, so you always get a plug spanner in your repertoire. We'll put that in there for a second. We have a little brush, a little cleaning brush. So that must mean we got places we need to clean with this. A little hairbrush. Let's get guide bar and chain fitted on, shall we? Oh, I do love a knotted chain. Now there is a knack to that, if people don't know. It's putting the two loops to the center, and it's as easy as that. So on the side, we've got two captive nuts, I presume, or two nuts there, and we got the adjuster on the side for your guide bar and chain. So let's take the nuts off first. Ooh, they are captive. They won't fall out. They won't wriggle out if they undo. I'm loving the quality already. There is a proper rim sprocket on the side, and you've got all this metal plating around all the sort of the vital areas of this machine. Guide bar wise, on like that. Chain on. I am thoroughly impressed with the build quality already. It's nice to see that sprocket on there, because most battery machines, battery chainsaws that I've used in the past, will just have a normal sort of sprocket on there which is sort of circlip on or bolted on, and then just put your screwdriver into the adjusting screw like so. It's turning round lovely. A little bit of spring in it, and then finishing touches, just free up your clutch cover nuts. So I know what you all want to see, and that is these machines cutting. So we'll tell you a little bit more about the features of this saw later on in the video. So I'm going to get my battery in there, we're going to get them both oiled and see how they perform. I think before we get going and race these two chainsaws, we ought to warm this puppy up and see what it can actually do. that was pretty awesome, wasn't it? Look at the speed of that chainsaw going through that timber. Now that is only softwood. We are going to have some hardwood in a minute and see and push this saw through it and see what it can actually do. I've just brought out a little a bit of specs for you before we start this sort of competition between the Husqvarna and the Cramer to show you the real differences in power and weight between the two machines. So if we start off with the Cramer, it's got 4.5 kilowatts of power against the Husqvarna that's got 3.9. So that's going to be interesting. We've got 6.3 kilos on the Husqvarna dry weight without cutting attachment, and on the Cramer we got 4.9 kilos, 3.8 newton meters on the Husqvarna, whereas on the Cramer we got 5.2 newton meters. So I think this is going to be a fair competition. I think the Husqvarna could actually lose. Then the other thing is meters per second, so chain speed. So on the Husqvarna we got 22.07 meters per second. Cramer is 30. Should we do a cut with Husqvarna first and then we'll get the Cramer in? Let's do it.
3, 2, 1, cut! 3, 2, 1, cut! One cut. 3, 2, 1 cut. One cut.
Now that certainly provided some interesting results. I thought my chain was a little bit sharper than it was on the Husqvarna, so I think I'm going to sharpen it before we do the hardwood cutting test. I think we've got some ash lying about that we can put both these saws through. But chain speed wise and softwood, that Cramer, absolutely unbelievable. Let's go and sharpen that and we'll get set up for some hardwood. So Husqvarna is all sharpened and we have got some bloody hard ash to contend with. So we'll do a down, up, down with the Husqvarna to start off with, and then we'll swap over to the battery Cramer and see what that can do.
3, 2, 1, cut! Three, two, one, cut!
So what do you make of that? I think we ought to round it up. Okay, so let's get down to the nitty gritty of it, because the Cramer is certainly the faster chainsaw of the two, but there can be some variables. The softwood could have some knots in it. The hardwood could be a slightly thickness or slightly different denseness. But chain-wise, we got a 1.3mm 3/8 chain on here. Now it's the same gauge as a 3/8 chain on here, but it's 1.5mm on the Husqvarna, so slightly thicker, so you'd think it'd be slightly slower. Cramer-wise, we obviously had a brand new chain out the box. We did do those first few cuts, so it would have just taken the edge off. The Husqvarna I sharpened for the hardwood, but there was a huge difference in timings between the two. Single soft cut wise, obviously these are rough timings. You'd have had the proper timings on the screen. We had 11 seconds on the Husqvarna and 5 seconds on the Cramer. Now down, up, down in the softwood, we had around 30 seconds with the Husqvarna and we had 17 seconds with the Cramer. And moving on to the hardwood, we had 23 seconds on the Husqvarna and 14 on the Cramer. Now, sharpening wise, that is bloody sharp. There is a fair point to that chain, so I'm happy with the condition of that chain when we were doing the cutting, and I think really that shows how powerful that Cramer chainsaw is. To beat it by 9 seconds in hardwood is pretty incredible, to be honest. Now obviously at the start of the video we said this was 70cc equivalent. I can assure you it definitely feels like it. And from the results we've got, I think Cramer have done a great job with designing that chainsaw. Right, that's enough about the Husqvarna. Let's check out the rest of the features of this chainsaw that we didn't mention throughout the video. So the first one is, it comes with a magnesium housing. So standard, it comes with a 51 centimeter guide bar, but you can put 61 and a 71 centimeter on there. One thing I really do like is the slimline design. It's not much bigger than my Husqvarna. It's certainly a lot shallower. You've got a status display with oil level monitoring. It's IPX5 weather resistant. Power to weight ratio, we have 0.43 kilowatts per kilo. You have an easy access air filter, which obviously you can use your little brush to clean out, which then leads me on to this machine having instant torque delivery. As soon as you blip that switch and that throttle, it just picks up and goes. That throttle and switch assembly is lovely. I like that, because we both mentioned it, me and James, we've both had a go with this saw now. We hate any chainsaw that's got like a flicky little switch on there. That is just lovely in your hand. It is a dream to use. Now there's only two things that we thought were a little bit unusual with this chainsaw. One being the handle. With a standard chainsaw, your handle is normally pretty much straight on, whereas this one's sort of slanted to the side and goes down. And also I would have preferred it to be a little bit of a bigger grip. The other thing is the chain running on. This feels and performs a little bit more like a petrol chainsaw. So when you release the throttle or the trigger, the chain just runs on for a few seconds instead of just instantly sort of braking. In some instances, I kind of quite like it, because with a petrol, you've got that sort of idling and the chain runs on slightly. With other battery chainsaws I've used, you get that sort of snap and it sort of stops, and you kind of wonder how much load is going on that motor. So I kind of like it, but also it's a little bit weird as well. But that's very minor things in the whole grand scheme of it, because I love this saw in many ways, because it's got that 3/8 chain on it, a big chain. I don't think there's any other cordless manufacturer on the market that has a chainsaw with that chain size on it. The rim sprocket, love a rim sprocket on a chainsaw. It's comfy to use, and also the power is phenomenal. So is that the most powerful cordless chainsaw in the world? Quite probably is. Anyway, we're Machinery Nation. We bring you product videos every week all about tools and machinery. We hope you like this one. Please subscribe to our channel, ding the notification bell, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.